At the 2025 SCO summit in Tianjin, Chen Min'er once again followed close at Xi Jinping's side as he attended various activities. The familiar scene felt as though it had returned to the shores of Westlake more than 20 years ago. Back then, Xi Jinping was still only the party secretary of Xuexiang province, and Chen Min'er was the youngest member of the provincial party standing committee. The two of them had to exchange a few words every day about how that day's Zhejiang Xinyu should be revised. By 2013, Xi Jinping had already ascended the throne as General Secretary, and Chen Min'er had also become governor of Guizhou. At that time, people widely believed that the only two post-60 seconds members of the Politburo, then Hu Chunhua and Sun Zhenkai, were about to become Xi Jinping's successors. But people soon discovered that Hu Chunhua and Sun Zhenkai had never belonged to the same mountain stronghold as Xi Jinping in the first place. So some people began to speculate that Xi Jinping would still pick a successor from his own faction, and that this person would have to satisfy three conditions. He had to be ironclad close to Xi Jinping. This was the basic condition, because at that time there was the 7 up, 8 down rule. 67 years old could be elected to the standing committee, while 68 could no longer be elected, still an iron law. So for this successor to serve 2 consecutive terms, he had to be born after 1960. He had to have a certain level of seniority at that time. He had to already be at the full provincial ministerial level or higher. Back then, the head of the China Insurance Regulatory Commission, Xiang Junbo, was the most enthusiastic about betting on the future crown prince. For example, after the 18th Party Congress, he specifically went to Guangdong to meet Hu Chunhua and specifically approved for Guangdong a precious life insurance license, Hengqin Life. He gave Hu Chunhua a meet and greet gift. In 2013, Xiang Junbo then went to Guizhou to meet the then governor of Guizhou, Chen Min'er, and also promised Guizhou a life insurance license. Huaguai Life. Only then did sensitive observers realise that someone had already placed a bet on Chen Min'er, believing he would become the crown prince. If you calculated carefully, Chen Min'er indeed was, within Xi Jinping's team at the time, the only cadre who could simultaneously meet all 3 conditions: born in 1960, age appropriate, already serving as governor of Guizhou, and with sufficiently deep ties to Xi Jinping. Within Xi Jinping's people at that time, Kai Chi, Huang Kunming, and He Lifeng were already over the age line. Li Qiang was born in 1959, just 1 year off. Under the system then, that meant he could not serve 2 terms and also did not fit the rules as they stood. Ding Xuexiang at that time was only a deputy director of the General Office of the CCP Central Committee, and no one could have imagined the rapid promotions that would come later. Shen Haisheng was still only a deputy editor-in-chief at Xinhua News Agency, and Zhang Xiaojun was only the director of the office of the chairman of the Central Military Commission. Their resumes did not really fit the requirements. It can be said that among the post-60 seconds who had directly dealt with Xi Jinping, only Chen Min'er met the standards of a future successor. It was quite possible that he, together with Hu Chunhua, would become the future crown princes. So what kind of life trajectory did this political star of tomorrow have? Who were his patrons? And how was it that he failed to make it into the 20th Party Congress Standing Committee, overtaken by Ding Xuexiang? Today, let us lift the veil on these mysteries. Chen Min'er was born in 1,960 inches Fengqiao Town, Zhuji City, which falls under Shaoxing City in Zhejiang. Although they belong to the same region, Zhuji and Shaoxing have very different cultures. Historically, Shaoxing was famous for producing heir, and literati Shaoxing people tend to have a more moderate temperament, more rule-bound. Zhuji people, by contrast, tend to be straightforward, blunt and clannish, combining the bold toughness of northerners with the quick-witted delicacy of southerners. Most of Shaoxing is plains, while most of Zhuji is close to mountainous areas. Geography determined this cultural difference, and these cultural traits also invisibly influenced Chen Min'er as he grew up in Zhuji. In Zhejiang officialdom, there is also an active Zhuji clique, standing alongside the Ningbo and Wenzhou factions. Former Chongqing Mayor Huang Qifan, former Sichuan Governor Jiang Jufeng, former Zhejiang Governor Lu Zushan, former Chair of the Zhejiang Provincial CPPCC Zhou Guofu, former Minister of Education He Dongchang, these are among them. As for department and bureau level officials, There are even more. At its peak, it was said they made up as much as 1/3 of Xuexiang officialdom. Since it can be called the Zhuji clique, it is not a loose sandpile, it is highly cohesive. Officials already in high positions are quite happy to help promising younger fellow townsmen. The first half of Chen Min'er's life basically also benefited from the support of several senior figures from Zhuji. In 1981, Chen Min'er graduated from the Chinese department of Xuexiang Teachers College. Among his classmates was also Yu Keping, who later became a deputy director of the Central Compilation and Translation Bureau and a well-known political scientist. Yu Keping later got into graduate school at Xiamen University and took an academic path. Chen Min'er stayed at the college as a propaganda officer and took the path into politics. After more than a year of theoretical study at the provincial party school, student Chen transferred to the propaganda department of the Xuexiang Municipal Party Committee as a deputy section chief. Later, relying on solid writing skills, 7-year-old Chen Min'er became head of the propaganda department of the Xuexiang County Party Committee. In this period, Chen Min'er's most important patron was Yu Guoxing, then a standing member of the Xuexiang Municipal Party Committee and head of propaganda. Yu Guoxing later also served as deputy party secretary of Xuexiang and continued to oversee propaganda. In 1998, Yu Guoxing was promoted to a standing member of the Zhejiang Provincial Party Committee and director of the Provincial Public Security Department. Yu Guoxing later became the deputy clique leader of the Zhuji faction, while the executive deputy clique leader was Yu Guoxing's old buddy Zhou Guofu. Zhou Guofu served as head of the organization department of the Xuexiang Municipal Party Committee and later successively served as deputy head of the provincial organization department and provincial deputy party secretary, an extremely weighty figure in Zhejiang officialdom at the time. With the help of these two fellow townsmen, Chen Min'er quickly became county magistrate and county party secretary of Xuexiang County, then rose to become a standing member of the Xuexiang Municipal Party Committee, securing a deputy department bureau level rank. In 1995, Zhou Guofu returned to Zhejiang and became head of the provincial organization department. In 1997, he transferred Chen Min'er to a higher platform Ningbo, where Chen served as deputy party secretary, securing the full department bureau level. Zhang Daijiang was transferred to become Zhejiang Provincial Party Secretary. In the provincial leadership team then, there was a deputy provincial party secretary named Liang Pingbo, who was in charge of propaganda work. This deputy secretary, Liang, had previously been head of the provincial propaganda department and earlier had also served as deputy party secretary of Xuexiang. Secretary Liang was most famous for two things. First, he was a princeling-type high cadre offspring. His father was an old subordinate of the CCP's famous talent spotter, Chen Min'er, so he also became one of three young people Chen Min'er focused on promoting. The other two young people were Zheng Qinghong and Li Yuanchao. At the time, Zheng Qinghong was already director of the General Office of the CCP Central Committee and was about to become head of the organisation department. He was Liang Pingbo's iron buddy. As for why Chen Min'er could be a talent spotter, it was because he was an iron buddy of Hu Yaobang. Hu Yaobang listened to him in everything. Second, Liang Pingbo especially loved painting and was not that passionate about being an official. After retirement, he got his wish and became a famous painter. As a literati type, he especially liked young people with outstanding talent and literary flair. After Zhang Daijiang arrived, he transferred Zhang Shi, then president of Zhejiang Daily, to the Provincial Party Committee's General Office as director and decided to choose a cadre who understood the business to take over Zhejiang Daily. Deputy Provincial Party Secretary Zhou Guofu, who oversaw organisation work, recommended to Liang Pingbo the young fellow townsman Chen Min'er. When Liang Pingbo worked in Shaoxing, he had also dealt with Chen Min'er and had a very good impression of him. At that time, Chen Min'er came from the propaganda system, had an active mind, strong literary talent, and was already full department bureau level, meeting all the leaders' requirements. After Chen Min'er took office as president of Zhejiang Daily, he did three things. First, he carried out a comprehensive redesign of Zhejiang Daily, implemented full-colour printing, optimised the layout structure, deepened news reforms, piloted new operating mechanisms and publication processes, improved readability, and also kept up with trends by creating its own website, becoming one of the first news organisations to appear on the internet. This series of moves gave new life to a decades-old party organ newspaper, aligning with the provincial party secretary's expectations. Second, on Zhang Dezheng's suggestion, he opened a column called Qianjiang Langhua, focusing on reporting advanced units and outstanding figures in regionally distinctive economies, promoting local government's achievements, and flattering every spirit coming from the centre. Third, he took Xuexiang Daily as the core to form a newspaper group covering 16 traditional media outlets, including Changjiang Evening News and Zhejiang Legal News. He separated news propaganda operations from industrial market operations so they could run independently, pushed the business side into the market, and implemented corporate-style management. Under Chen Min'er's reforms, the Zhibao Group became one of the most mechanism-flexible entities in the National Party newspaper system, with circulation consistently ranking near the top among provincial party committee organ newspapers. On the foundation Chen Min'er laid, Zhibao Media later became China's first listed newspaper group. Chen Min'er's reforms in Zhejiang's newspaper industry won Liang Pingbo's approval and also gained Zhang Dejiang's favour. In 2001, under the joint recommendation of Liang Pingbo and Zhang Dejiang, Chen Min'er was promoted to head of the Zhejiang Provincial Propaganda Department. And the following year, he entered the Provincial Party Standing Committee, securing vice ministerial for Bui, rank at age 42, one of the youngest Provincial Standing Committee members in the country at the time. The reason Liang Pingbo's recommendation mattered is that at the vice ministerial level, relying solely on a Provincial Party secretary could not fully settle it. It also required the organisation department's consent. Fortunately, Deputy Secretary Liang and Zhang Qinghong, then head of the organisation department, were buddies, so this was easy to resolve. So, Chen Min'er's most important step up was completed in the hands of Zhang Dejiang and Zhang Qinghong. Before Xi Jinping came to Zhejiang, Chen Min'er had already been promoted to Provincial Standing Committee member. In 2002, Xi Jinping was transferred in as governor of Xuexiang and soon replaced Zhang Dejiang as Provincial Party Secretary. Among the 14 members of the Provincial Standing Committee then, Zhuji natives accounted for 4. Kai Chi and Huang Kunming, who had been transferred in from Fujian in the previous 2 years, were still serving as municipal party secretaries at the prefecture level and had not been promoted to vice-provincial level. At that time, Xi Jinping had just started to stand on his own. He was still an outsider, so his outward posture was very low-key and he was not hard to approach. As the only standing committee member younger than Xi Jinping, Chen Min'er made Xi feel relaxed in their exchanges. When Peng Liwen first went to Zhejiang, it was also Chen Min'er coming from the propaganda system who was initially tasked with receiving and hosting her. In 2003, under Chen Min'er's planning, Zhejiang Daily opened on its front page a column called Xuexiang Xinyu. The author signed as Zhexin, and the column published short political commentary articles irregularly on a fixed page, lasting more than 4 years and producing over 200 pieces, covering party building, the economy, agriculture and rural issues, society, ecology, rule of law, culture and education, and more. Later people learned that Zhexin was the pen name of Xi Jinping, then Zhejiang Provincial Party Secretary, taking the meaning of Zhejiang Innovation. In 2007, under Chen Min'er's instruction, Zhejiang Daily compiled these articles into a book and it actually became a bestseller that year. Most of these articles were ghostwritten by others, but the main ideas and frameworks still could not have been done without Xi Jinping's personal involvement. You can also see his later governing approach from them. The opening of this column and the publication of the book played many positive roles in shaping Xi Jinping's personal brand, crafting an image of Xi as calm, non-interventionist, and a mild reformer, and won Xi's own approval. However, in another competition, Chen Min'er lost. At that time, the Provincial Party Secretary-General was Zhang Ji, selected by Zhang Dejiang. Zhang Ji was 8 years older than Xi Jinping and already close to 60. He had long worked in Zhejiang's broadcasting system and at Zhejiang Daily. Xi Jinping was eager to replace him with a younger Secretary-General. In principle, Chen Min'er, as the youngest standing committee member, was the most suitable choice. There was no need to adjust rank. The Provincial Standing Committee could simply hold a meeting and make the change immediately. If they chose a full Department Bureau level Secretary-General and promoted him to Vice Ministerial level, it would still have to be reported to the organisation department for review. and the propaganda system was Zhang Xi's home turf, sending him back to serve as propaganda chief would have been entirely reasonable. If Chen Min'er could have become provincial party secretary general, he would have become Xi Jinping's most trusted grand secretary, and his relationship with Xi would have gone a step further. Later history would have been completely rewritten. Yet, unexpectedly, Xi Jinping chose Li Qiang, then party secretary of Wenzhou. There were multiple layers of considerations behind this. One possibility was the difference in personal traits between Li Qiang and Chen Min'er. Li Qiang was from Wenzhou and had long worked in general offices and at the grassroots. He was familiar with office work, good at serving leaders, and had a softer personality, with coordination, ability, and emotional intelligence higher than Chen Min'er's. For Li Qiang, Xi Jinping, some people say, was close to love at first sight, a kind of heartfelt admiration. Chen Min'er was also outstanding, but he was a typical Zhuji person. His character had many tough, hard-edged elements. In terms of temperament, he was more like an intellectual and literati. His literary talent was stronger than his service ability. Beyond that, factional background was also an important factor for Xi Jinping. At that time, among Xuexiang's provincial standing committee, there were 4 Zhuji natives. Organisation department head Si Xinliang was also half Zhuji, and Governor Lu Zushan's ancestral home was also Zhuji. Such a powerful force made Xi Jinping, as an outsider, stay alert. Li Qiang, by contrast, was a disciple of former Governor Chai Songyue and an official from Wenzhou. Promoting him to Secretary General could form an alliance with forces like Governor Chai. In 2007, Xi Jinping left Xuexiang for a post in Shanghai. Chen Min'er also shifted from propaganda chief to executive vice governor, assisting his Zhuji fellow townsman Lu Zushan. In December 2012, just after the 18th Party Congress ended, Chen Min'er was parachuted into Guizhou to serve as governor. At that time, Guizhou, after Li Zhanshu and Zhao Keji's strenuous efforts, had just shown a thriving momentum and had become a newly rising political high ground. Chen Min'er pushed Guizhou's development to a new level. He mainly formulated 3 major strategies. First was big poverty alleviation. Guizhou had the largest poor population in the country. Poverty alleviation was the first major task the centre assigned to Guizhou. Big poverty alleviation meant every level takes it on, everyone takes it on, forming a pattern of full force support and comprehensive support. Guizhou launched relocation-based poverty alleviation centred on whole village, whole hamlet moves, gradually moving people out from deep mountains. This method was far more effective than the traditional approach of delivering cooking oil and flour. Second was big data. With the support of Chen Gang, then party secretary of Guiyang, Chen Min'er treated the big data industry as Guizhou's hope for overtaking on the curve, almost going all in. He successively brought in big data centers from China Mobile, Huawei, Alibaba, Tencent, and others, and cultivated local leading big data firms such as Manbang, Langma, and Baishan Cloud. Third was vigorously developing the Guian New Area. In 2014, Guian New Area was approved as a national-level new area. Guizhou made a heavy bet there, treating big data, new energy vehicles, and battery materials as the leading industries of Guian, trying to build a new economic growth pole. Of course, behind this was also big debt. Guizhou's governments at all levels and their local financing vehicles went full throttle, borrowing in all kinds of forms, and the government's debt balance eventually reached over 2 trillion yuan, with a debt ratio exceeding 250%. The bitter fruit of this high debt would only gradually show itself more than 10 years later, but that had nothing to do with Chen Min'er anymore. It was like a pass-the-parcel game. As long as the bomb does not explode in your own hands, you are fine. In this period, Chen Min'er also proposed a development path that balanced fairness and development and transcended the left-right dispute. Outsiders called this the Guizhou model. At the 6th plenum of the 18th Central Committee in 2016, Xi Jinping was established as the new generation core leader of the CCP and basically secured his position, so he began to consider personnel arrangements after the 19th Party Congress. He first set his sights on the political stars, then Sun Zhenkai and Hu Qinhua, the intergenerational successors confirmed by the previous generation of leaders. After a round of secret investigations, even using technical means, Xi Jinping basically figured out the situation of these 2 young men. Hu Qinhua was the type who only knew how to work honestly. Behind the scenes, he did not complain much, and he did not have much political ambition or plotting. Economically, he was relatively clean. belonging to the honest man category. Sun Zhenkai was the complete opposite. He was full of political ambition, constantly active everywhere for political goals, and there was little loyalty to Xi Jinping to speak of. His wife also engaged in corruption with him. Worse still, when Sun Zhenkai was in Beijing, he had formed an old grudge with the then Beijing mayor Wang Qishan. So the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection cleaned out this so-called crown prince. Hu Chunhua remained safe, but his standing within the party was severely affected. People suddenly realised that a strong Xi Jinping would not allow someone from another faction to succeed him, and he would not accept a successor appointed for him by the previous generation of leaders. In 2017, the 19th Party Congress convened. Among the 4 youngest people in the Politburo, Hu Chunhua did not enter the standing committee and only served as vice premier. Li Qiang became party secretary of Shanghai and became a big winner of the 19th Congress. Ding Xuexiang became director of the general office and had a faint latecomer overtaking momentum. Chen Min'er was transferred to become party secretary of Chongqing, which was also a big step forward. At this point, due to Li Qiang's age constraint and Ding Xuexiang's fatal weakness in terms of seniority, Chen Min'er was still widely regarded as a potential successor. It was just that the Chongqing to which he went had questionable feng shui. The fates of several previous leaders there were not good. Bo Xilai, Sun Zhenkai, and others. Some even said there was a Chongqing curse. Chen Min'er's report card mainly had achievements in 3 areas. First, politically, he rectified Chongqing officialdom, eliminated the toxic legacy of Bo Xilai and Sun Zhenkai, corrected the situation under Bo where politics did not stay consistent with the Central Committee, and corrected Sun's laziness and inaction in work. Second, poverty alleviation. This was the most valued task of Xi Jinping's second term, tied to Xi's historical standing and regime legitimacy. Chongqing combines a big city, a big countryside, big mountainous areas, and a big reservoir area. The poverty alleviation burden was especially heavy. Chen Min'er highly valued reservoir area resettlement and treated industrial development and infrastructure improvement as the key to stable poverty exit in poor regions. As the official line shifted toward more normalized rural revitalization, Chongqing's poverty alleviation mission formally came to an end. Third, transformation of the economic development model. Chen Min'er also tried to cultivate new growth points, advancing so-called big data intelligent innovation to lead industrial transformation and upgrading and achieve so-called high-quality growth. Strangely, during this period, Chen Min'er lost the clear development thinking he had in Guizhou. His overall governance approach seemed somewhat at a loss, with no highlights. This mainly showed up in several aspects. First, he lagged badly in praising the great leader. He neither proposed new slogans like Kai Chi, nor invented a first learning method like Li Shi. In the nationwide thunderous campaign of flattering Xi Jinping, Chen Min'er fell completely behind. He did write an article in People's Daily proposing the 4 greats, but there was nothing new in it, and it left no deep impression on the outside world. For a former propaganda chief to fail to lead this round of the movement was truly baffling. Second, Chongqing's team kept running into trouble. In 2019, Chongqing Municipal Deputy Party Secretary Ren Xufeng jumped to his death at the Jingxi Hotel during the 4th plenum. Rumours in the private sphere said there was serious discord between him and Chen Min'er. At the end of 2021, Chongqing Mayor Tang Liangji was suddenly transferred to become chair of the Anhui Provincial CPPCC. Also in 2021, Chen Min'er's long-serving secretary Yan Wei was moved from a district party secretary post to a Chongqing municipal state-owned enterprise, an obvious punishment for having made mistakes. Third, Chongqing's economic growth rate fell off a cliff. Under Bo Xilai and Sun Zhenkai, due to high-intensity infrastructure investment, Chongqing's growth rate had long been among the national leaders. GDP growth once reached 17%. But since Chen Min'er took charge, GDP growth fell back to single digits, clearly below the national average. Chen Min'er kept stressing that they could not return to the old path of low-quality growth, but he also did not put forward any novel development thinking, leaving subordinates at a loss. The most eerie part was that in this period, Chen Min'er seemed to become somewhat distant from Xi Jinping. He no longer got the centre's intentions as deeply as before, and he was not as confident as in the Guizhou period. In 2019, the Singapore government dispatched its then successor designate Heng Swee-keat to revisit Chongqing and meet Chen Min'er. Heng said he hoped this meeting could pave the way for the next generation of leaders of our 2 countries. Chen Min'er responded that through this meeting, he had deeply realised the political intentions and cooperation guidelines of the two countries' high-level leadership. Many media outlets loudly reported the matter, seemingly hinting that Chen Min'er was the future successor. In 2022, the 20th Party Congress convened, and the top-level personnel arrangement shocked all circles. 5 years earlier, at the 19th Party Congress, the 4 post-60 seconds Politburo members had seen their career paths diverge. The most satisfied should have been Li Qiang and Ding Xuexiang, who smoothly rose to become Politburo Standing Committee members. The most unexpected was that Hu Chunhua was moved to become a CP-PCC vice chair, exiting early. For Chen Min'er, it was also full of disappointment. Not only did he fail to enter the standing committee, but he was caught up and even surpassed by many juniors, and was adjusted to become Tianjin party secretary. The number of post-60 seconds Politburo members went from 4 to nearly 10, for example. His former subordinate, Chongqing Mayor Zhang Guoqing, had already become vice premier and outranked him. Former Beijing Mayor Chen Jining became party secretary of Shanghai. Former Fujian party secretary Yin Li became party secretary of Beijing. Shanxi Party Secretary Liu Guozhong also became Vice Premier. There were also the new organisation department head Li Ganji, propaganda department head Li Shulei, political legal affairs commission head Chen Wenqing. These post-60 seconds rising stars not only entered the Politburo but achieved curve overtaking, and the importance of their positions was stronger than Chen Min'er's. It can be said that among the post-60 seconds, only Chongqing Party Secretary Yuan Jiajun's political status was slightly lower than Chen Min'er's. Among the 24 Politburo members, only Li Hongzhong and Yuan Jiajun were positioned below Chen Min'er. In the 5 years from 2017 to 2022, Chen Min'er forcibly lost his lead, going from far ahead to blending into the crowd. Chen Min'er's potential political future became dim and colourless. Many people even suspected that Xi Jinping had strong dissatisfaction with him, because if Xi still valued him enough, even if he did not let him rise to the standing committee, at minimum, he could have been moved to a more important city like Shanghai or Beijing as party secretary, or moved to a vice premier role that oversees the whole picture. Then in the next term, he would still have had sufficient competitiveness to enter the standing committee. At the very least, he could have been moved to Guangdong, the economic engine, as provincial party secretary. At the 20th Party Congress, such a once-in-a-decade grand feast of dividing the spoils, Chen Min'er lost in a complete mess. Why do we say that being Tianjin Party Secretary is one of the worst positions in the Politburo? This comes from Tianjin's current development predicament. Tianjin is nominally a directly administered municipality, but under Beijing's siphoning effect, Tianjin has for many years failed to build successful pillar industries. Its finances are close to exhausted, debt-ridden, and the government is close to bankruptcy. These difficulties come from deep causes such as a deformed economic structure, population outflow, backward ideas, and there are no real short-term solutions. Governing such a place first, it is hard to produce any political achievements that catch the leadership's attention. What Xi Jinping likes most are loyal and capable confidants, especially in key positions. Neither of these indicators can be missing. For example, Kai Chi and Huang Kunming have almost equally iron relationships with Xi Jinping. You cannot see a difference in loyalty. Then priority goes to Kai Chi, whom the leadership feels is more capable, and Huang Kunming failed to enter the standing committee. Second, because of fiscal difficulty, unemployment rises. Even paying civil servants' salaries becomes difficult. Social contradictions emerge one after another. It is easy to see mass incidents, leaving outsiders with the subjective impression that governance ability is not good. For example, Liu Yangsheng in Henan, although he has a good relationship with Xi Jinping during his tenure in Henan, all kinds of problems kept emerging: the Foxconn incident, the Village Bank incident, and so on. Not only could he not produce sufficient achievements, but it also made all circles doubt his governing ability. Therefore, he could not rise to vice-state level. Third, because the economy is weak and real estate is weak, there are not many resources to exchange with the outside. It is not easy to form interest alliances with other political families, which has a great impact on future development. For example, the head of the organisation department can exchange official posts and hats with other top levels, so when competing for standing committee promotion, there will be many supporters. The head of the propaganda department has very few resources to exchange. So historically, Organisation department heads mostly can rise to the standing committee, whereas propaganda department heads only had Liu Yunshan enter the standing committee. As Tianjin Party secretary, the resources Chen Min'er controls may be among the least of all the post-60 Seconds Politburo members. Fourth, in the more than 40 years since reform and opening up, Tianjin has produced only 2 standing committee members, Li Ruihuan and Zhang Gaoli. The political environment in Li Ruihuan's era is fundamentally different from today and cannot be simply analogized. As for Zhang Gaoli's promotion to the standing committee, besides closely following Jiang Zemin, it was also because he had real achievements back then. With Wen Jiabao's support, Zhang Gaoli carried out massive construction in Tianjin and built the Binhai New Area. In 2010, Tianjin's GDP growth rate became number 1 nationwide, and its per capita GDP ranked 3rd among provinces, municipalities, and autonomous regions. At that time, Tianjin looked like the 3rd growth pole after Shenzhen and Shanghai and welcomed its only highlight moment in half a century. Obviously, it will be hard for Chen Min'er to replicate Zhang Gaoli's achievements in the next few years. The fact that this place has produced few standing committee members also means the probability of rising to the standing committee from here is low. And the fact that it produced few standing committee members before also means the current leader can find few political allies from this place. Political resources are barren. So how exactly did Chen Min'er go from being advanced to being relatively behind? Does he still have hope of becoming Xi Jinping's successor or entering the standing committee at the 21st Party Congress? That has to start from the CCP's successor system. Please watch the next episode of our video introducing the CCP's successor system. Thank you all for watching.